welcome everyone. Captain Venzi, he was our campaign manager for the Benaulim constituency in Goa, where we recently won our first Zilla Parishad election seat. So today he will talk to us about Goa and his journey with AAP so far. And yeah, before we get started, Captain Venzi, could you please tell us more about how you got involved with the party? How did you come into active politics? And yeah, I mean, what inspired you to join Aam Aadmi Party?
Yeah, firstly, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on the show. And
Mm-hmm.
it's an opportunity to interact with all our volunteers all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
With regards to me, I have been sailing from 1996. I joined the Merchant Navy as a cadet, and
Mm-hmm.
I grew in the industry and I became a master mariner. I took my command in 2010-11. And after that, in 2014-15, I decided to start my own business. And that is the time when I opened up my offices at various places in Africa and then also one in here in Goa. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the time I started actively involving with the Aam Aadmi Party from 2015 December. I had registered myself in 2014, early 2014, with the online registration of 10 rupees. And
Yeah.
the journey started specifically from the 30th of December 2015. And we had a meeting in my village, and we had a few AAP volunteers who came to introduce. And from there on, we got active, and the journey started in 2016. Early, you can say in March, I was given the responsibility of developing two constituencies, that was Kurchurim and Kepe. And
Mm-hmm.
we all used to go door to door in Kurchurim and Kepe, which was around 22 kilometers from where I live. And in a month's time, we wrapped up the whole constituency. We found volunteers. We inaugurated an office on the 24th of April in
Mm-hmm.
2016. And then I had to join the ship back again. So I went on the ship on the 27th of April 2016. And the journey continued from there. From the ship, I was back. I was given the responsibility of the Fatorda constituency as the coordinator as well as the campaign manager for the 2017 elections. And we did a very good campaign. We pulled out around 1,400 plus votes in that
Yeah.
constituency. Plus, I used to help in the state committee for the 2017 elections, being part of the 2017 state committee.
Mm-hmm.
And the journey continued from 2017, then till 2019 was part of the Lok Sabha elections campaign. And after that, from the 2019 Lok Sabha, we entered the 2020 ZP elections campaign,
Yeah.
which got held up in March because of the pandemic. And from there on, we had a big issue with regards to the seafarers all over the world, and seafarers of India and seafarers of Goa. So there was a lot of problem in getting them down, signing them off in the pandemic. And I, with a few seafarers, we prepared a contingency plan how to evacuate the seafarers from the ship by putting it in 3 stages. We submitted to the Goa government. We struggled a lot.
What was the issue with the seafarers? Could you give us some more context?
Yeah, the seafarers, the issue was such that all the vessels had stopped. I mean, specifically the cruise liner ships. The crew industry had already come to an halt because the passengers were being tested positive and the industry came to a halt. And most
Okay.
of the seafarers started falling sick. A lot of them started falling sick on the ship. So when they fall sick on the ship, they used to be put up in the hospitals, whichever is the nearest shore. And
Right.
then there was no communication from the Indian government, the DG Shipping. There was a lot of lack of communication, no communication from the Goa government, how to handle things, because they
Right.
themselves were unorganized here in the state of Goa. and when they are unorganized in the state, so it was so difficult for them to communicate with the people who are abroad on the ships, all the NRIs who are on the ship. And this
Yeah.
journey took a good 3 months, trying to be in touch with the seafarers through the social media, giving them information, what's going to happen about the flights, contacting the airport authorities, contacting the various authorities in Mumbai, and getting them passing on the required SOPs, the day-to-day basis SOPs which are coming out. So it was a struggle. It was also a struggle to mentally give them a moral support. It was not only the seafarers but also their families down here who were worried about their sons, their husbands, and there was nobody to give them that support. So
Yeah.
we acted there as a support. We stood by the families. Anytime anyone calls, there was always a positive word for them that things are going to happen, things are happening, give them the information, which companies, when are they sending, what's the prospect. So we passed through this phase, the seafarers came down, and then most of the companies send them by their charter flights, and everybody was home. There was again an issue for the quarantine, which the
Yeah.
government started charging 2,500 rupees per day for the hotel over here, and that's a huge amount of rupees or US dollars the company owners had to pay, and
Correct.
that was also not nice upon the government. So we fought that. We could not do anything much, but yes, we were always putting the pressure on keeping the standards of the hotels at least, over days to come. This brought us right up to August, and then from August, we started the campaign again because we knew the elections are going to come for the ZP. And then we started the campaign again. We started something unique. We started something unique with the women's wing. It was in close to lines with the Mohalla clinics. I shall go in detail of that later.
Yeah.
And from there on, suddenly, since we were already in the campaign mode of organizing a lot of events with the Oxymeter campaign, the Veej Andolan, which shook everybody in Goa, the amazing thing what happened with the Veej Andolan was people realized that the entire people of Delhi are getting reduced bills with 200 units, no electricity bills, zero bills, and the electricity was 24 hours. There was no power cuts. There was no cut downs, and people had stopped using generators. People had stopped using inverters over a period of the last couple of years. So people of Goa were shocked with this news, and there was a big campaign which hit out. It took around 4-5 days. Every day we started these 4 meetings all over Goa. We planned around 200 meetings, and suddenly the government stopped everything, I think, on the 6th of December and said that we are going for ZP elections, and the elections are going to be held in a 6 days time from now, And there we started the official campaign for the ZP, where we didn't have much time in hand, but the entire movement from August, from the Seafarers movement and the August movement and the Veej Andolan, everything what was happening in Benaulem contributed towards the victory for Henzil Fernandez. Yes, for Henzil Fernandez is our 26-year-old young ZP candidate from the Aam Aadmi Party.
Yeah. That's indeed great. A great start for Aam Aadmi Party. I mean, so how big is the Benaulem ZP constituency compared to the Benaulem Assembly constituency, or is it the same thing?
No, it's not the same. Benauli constituency consists of 7 villages, and Benaulem ZP constitute of 5 villages. 2 villages are not included. So basically, you can say it's almost 80% of the Benaulem constituency is covered for the ZP. 20% is out. That is 2 villages are out.
Okay. That's nice. Yeah. Any reason? I mean, the timing was certainly a problem in this, but what were there any other reasons why we could not contest all 50 of the ZP constituencies this time?
No, there was no specific reason, but yes, more of groundwork is required. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of volunteers are required to work on the ground to reach out to the people, and
Yeah.
that could be the only reason. We need more ground support, more ground presence, and more people volunteering to give specific time, at least 2 hours a day in the evening, and
Yes.
take responsibility. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the only reason what I could say. We could not reach to all the constituencies.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, uh, regarding Goa, I mean, like there was a lot of shakeup when Mr. Gomes suddenly quit the party, and people were very shocked because he was considered very close to Kejriwal as well, and he was a former bureaucrat, and he was a well-known face there. What really happened, and why did we lose him?
Yeah, it is indeed sad that it happened. Elvis Jones has contributed a lot to the party. We really respect him a lot for all his contribution towards the party for so many years. And yes, that decision was taken by him initially when he took that decision. On the decision uh, because he wanted to perform better and work more on the ground because his presence on the ground in his particular constituency was not being seen as a convener. He had to take overall responsibility. And when this discussed, he also felt that it is required. And that is the time he stepped down
Mm-hmm.
and he introduced our new interim convener, Mr. Rahul Mamre. He
Yeah.
introduced him to the new setup, and he convinced Rahul to take over the position
Mm-hmm.
for the interim moment, till everything happens. And
Mm-hmm.
then after he stepped down, there were all sort of news flying, that there is a probability of he joining some other parties.
Mm-hmm.
People have been approaching him, and in this confusion, probably he also got very stressed with what is happening around, with so many people contacting him from various parties and all. And then finally he took a decision that he should step out of the party. So it was very unfortunate, but yes, he is respected in the party, and he will always be respected for his work. Uh, Either way, we have high regards. We have very high regards for him and his contribution to the Aam Aadmi Party in Goa.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, did we lose a lot of people, like volunteers and other leaders along with him, or was it just him?
Yes, we did miss the volunteers who left the party during the
Yeah.
campaign.
Hmm.
And yes, we also respect their contribution towards the party, same as Mr. Gomes.
Right, right, right. I hope the party certainly grows further from here, and we have, uh, hopefully we can keep everyone together. So, do we have any questions for Wenzi?
I have a question. This is Mansi from USA. Uh, how important was Hansel's win, for the 2022 state elections and even the party in general?
It's not only about Hensel, it's about all the 21 candidates who contested the ZP elections. Each and every one was very important because this was the first time Aam Aadmi Party had put candidates at the grassroots level. When we say grassroots, is basically the Jilla Panchayat. Before this, we had only contested the assembly and the Lok Sabha, and it was always that people's sentiments were you need to participate at the grassroots level. So this time it was the first time that elections itself, the Zilla elections itself, are also on party level. So they are on the party symbol. Previously they were not, and we participated in this election. So it was very crucial for us, and it was very important that we participated. We had a good campaign. Yes, but time was a crucial factor. We were not able to reach out to as many people the way we wanted to reach out, and the Veej Andolan was reaching out. In 5 days, we did 20 meetings, and we could see in this ZP elections all those booths where the Veej Andolan meetings were done. We were leading. We have led all those booths. All our candidates are leading in those booths for the Veej Andolan, which means that people definitely wanted that kind of an electricity bills lowered down in Goa. They definitely wanted continuous power supply in Goa, and they understood that it can be delivered here in Goa. So they showed it to their customers, their votes, and I think if we had a little bit of more time, we could have done much better with the other candidates. But yes, saying that to your question, Hansel's victory is very much important for the 2022 elections, and it has not only motivated the entire strength in Goa, but it has also enlightened the minds of the people that elections can be fought without corruption, without giving any bribes, without doing anything. So elections can be fought and elections can be won. And the people of Benaulim have shown this to the entire Goa that it can happen. If you guys want to change, you need to cast your vote for the Aam Aadmi Party. So Hensel has been important role for this ZP elections, and these elections will show us a way for the 2022.
Yeah. So, could you tell us something about what responsibilities does a Zilla Parishad councillor have? I mean, is electricity a sector that is there to some extent with the Zilla Parishad councillor?
Definitely, the Zilla Panchayat or the Zilla councillor member does not have any much great powers as of today. And the government is always trying to hold on to their powers, whatever they also have. So Zilla probably is given a very limited funding to develop. They generally develop nalas, like small drainages of a certain length, and of a certain budget. So basically, a tender of a certain specific amount is going to be the maximum tender. So you can probably get 100 meters of a stretch of a nalla or a drain, and maybe some electricity poles, beautification jobs can be taken by the Zilla Panchayat members. So yes, where electricity is concerned, yes, probably shifting of some poles, putting in some new electricity poles could be taken up by the Zilla member. But besides that, there is not much of great powers. But saying that one need not have only the power of capital or funds to do something. One needs an intent. He can always put in the people's issues as a Zilla member to the local MLA, to the government, and try to push and get those things done. So pushing those things is, I think, a much better way of having a person there and enlightening the people that these things are required in these villages.
Hi, my name is Uma. I'm currently based in Zurich, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm also originally from Goa. My family is from Goa, although I haven't grown up there. So I had a question regarding the social media strategy and the social media team. So what is currently, I mean, how are we, what is the I mean, do we have a dedicated team for social media for Aap Goa's campaign? How are we sort of proceeding with that? And what is what is it that the Aap Goa team needs in terms of social media, or even maybe to some extent even ground campaign, or but mainly social media campaign? Because if I understand it correctly, Goa's internet penetration is also pretty decent. So social media, I think, would be a pretty good tool. So how are we sort of proceeding with that?
Yes. Hi. Thanks, Uma, for your question. Nice to hear a Goan voice coming out from abroad. So Uma, social media, yes, we are equipped with social media to a decent level, but definitely we are not the best compared to the rest of the existing political parties. We need to improve a lot. We need a lot of volunteers to take care of social media campaigns for each constituency. To come up with new ideas, to strategize, to arrange, and to coordinate. Yes, we do need a lot of volunteers. We do have existing team, but
Mhm.
the team is not enough because, as you correctly said, Goa does have a very high internet penetration ratio, and as of now, we do not gauge. We are not gauging, or we are unable to gauge the penetration of internet against the ratio of viewers and comments, all these things. So we need a good volunteer base. We need good support. We need more help from people. Probably because for social media you don't need to be in Goa, you don't need to be in India. You can sit across anywhere. You can design things. It's not only about designing, but it's more about whatever you have designed, to find a gauging method, how it has gone to the people, how receptive they were in their comments, to make them receptive and to make them comment, and once to make them comment, to go and get them, put them on board, to make them join the party, understand their views. So that back office entire structure is very important. I think where social media is concerned, and yes, we definitely need people. If anyone is ready to help us with this, and take responsibilities of small constituencies.
Hmm. But do we only need volunteers, or do we also need kind of strategists, kind of people who will give it a certain voice and a certain direction? Because I was just looking at the Instagram page, and it seems a bit, I mean, random. I mean, is there like, do we have people? I mean, do we have enough people who are kind of planning and giving it a certain direction? Like, for example, the way the main app page is currently functioning, is it's doing a bit of memes, a few like announcements, and I mean it seems to now I think it's starting to develop a voice almost, and starting to develop a character of its own. So do we have somebody, do we have people who are kind of giving it that kind of a direction, or do we just have people who are kind of uploading or putting things up as they go along, and as they are like as the situation sort of changes?
Yeah, we do need to improvise on this strategic planning, the way you said, because as of now, although we have people doing it and strategizing things, but probably the gauging part of it, whether that strategy was planned and designed to achieve this particular segment or achieve X number of ratings, or and has it really achieved it? Like when you put up something, you put it up for a cause. It could be either to pass a message. So if that message has been passed on, how do you know that it's been passed on? Maybe you carry out a survey and you find out whether it has been reached to the people, and how it has reached. So this kind of strategic uh, thinking and strategic planning is happening, but probably it has to happen in a much greater level. It is not happening in that kind of a level where it has to happen. And I think we have a good opportunity to gauge ourselves, because probably end of February, the third week, we going in for the municipality elections. I think 11 municipalities we got, so going for the municipality elections.
Okay.
So if we get some kind of support from the volunteers abroad, and if
Yeah.
they are ready to help in this, then we could at least see, when we have new ideas coming in, and we've got elections in a short span of time. So we could execute those ideas, and we could see how was the result of those ideas, and
Okay.
and then we could include these people on a larger scale for Pan Goa, strategizing of Pan Goa
Yeah.
SN.
And like we do have time before the state assembly election. So I think I think if we just kind of start to work on this now, I think we certainly do have time to develop a voice and become a bigger force on social
Mhm.
media. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much
Yes,
for your
yes.
answer. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mishuma.
Yeah. Speaking of strategy, I mean, AAP made a lot of headway when it brought up the electricity issue and the power cuts and the high prices and things like that. But so far, AAP does not seem to be very active with the anti-coal protest. Like AAP Delhi is and AAP Punjab is going thermonuclear against the anti-farmer law, and what Ambani and Adani are conspiring against people. But AAP Goa is not going against the coal lobby, which is impacting Goa and its environment. Why is that so?
No, Goa is going against the coal lobby because if you see all the Salset volunteers who have been agitating against the coal movement are basically the AAP volunteers. The volunteers who got arrested are AAP volunteers who got arrested. But this entire movement is being taken by various group of NGOs and and it had started with the NGOs. So in order to support the NGOs and be with the NGOs without giving it a political angle, we all stayed there. Even I, if you see, I've got a very bad throat is because I was there for the midnight vigil.
Great.
And we came, yes, it was from 10:30 in the morning, in the night till early morning. We came out at around 6 o'clock from there. So we all are part of this, but in Goa, as you see that the government is is not at all in the mode of listening. They've got so many projects coming up, especially these three projects. That is the Mole project, this coal project for the Western bypass, and then the double tracking project. So all these projects, the government is full swing going on. They actually don't care about what's happening. They want to manipulate the things. They want to move ahead with these things. So the only way I think these things could change is by coming into power and making a change happen. And the entire Goa has to understand that coal is going to damage the environment. Coal is going to damage the tourism industry. The entire North Goa is 95%, I could say, dependent on tourism industry. The South, at least, is not 95%, probably is around 40% dependent on the tourism industry because the South does a lot of farming, does a lot of other things. But the North is 95% dependent on tourism industry. And if this coal passes to Goa, if it starts happening, the entire tourism belt in North Goa is going to get over. And it is being seen. The symptoms are there. If you see the beaches right up to the south and in the north, you see sheens and you see particles of coals being washed out in the water. So it has started happening. Happening. And if we take a message out of this coal was first brought in Goa in somewhere in the 90s, late 90s. I may not be right. It could be 96 or 97. So if you see 96, 97 and today is 2020. So it has taken us almost close to 22 years when we are all having this effect of coal being washed out with the present coal that is coming.
Right.
The existing coal which has been coming for the last 20 years, now you are able to see that coal has entered the sea and the sea is bringing this coal back on the shore.
Right.
In 2020, if we come up with these new projects, so by 2040, it won't take that long. It could be earlier. It could be 2035. The next, yes, it will be earlier. And 2035, the environment is going to get impacted. There is going to be coal particles all over the air. These particles will not be seen. They are going to be much nanoparticles, much finer than the hair, and we are going to inhale those, and we are not going to know. And we will not have medical facilities in place to treat us once these particles enter the lungs and we all get severely sick. So this is a message which we all have to understand and try to convince the government. And if the government is not getting convinced, then we have to checkmate this government in the 2022 elections.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, Prashant.
Is this?
Can I ask?
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, please.
Hey, thank you, Captain Manjit, for coming and speaking to us on this call. I had a couple of questions. Firstly, congratulations to you and the team. My two questions is, the first one is that next year the Election Commission has said that they will start allowing overseas Indians to vote in the assembly election of Assam, I think Bengal and one other state. Since Goa has a huge diaspora population of people living in other countries, do we have a strategy to tap into the overseas when we have the election in 2022? That's the first question. The second question that I have is, I noticed that the person that I think Hansel fought against was the former AAP person who did very well in the assembly election and switched to Congress and lost against the AAP newcomer. So can you gauge the sense of the electorate before the election, like which way it's going, or people have a way of surprising you and then?
Okay, let me answer your first question with regard to the overseas electorate. So right now we still don't have a strategy in place, but yes, once there is a firm confirmation of these things happening, we will definitely push in to the election commission to see if we could get it done for Goa as well. And yes, definitely Goans out abroad would be very happy to participate from abroad, and it will definitely help us since the Aam Aadmi Party has got a lot of NRI volunteers, a lot of NRI supporters, and it will definitely help us. And we would definitely want the government to come up with this, and if they confirm, yes, definitely we will be pushing towards this, and we will be counting on the huge segment of votes that is overseas. I hope I have managed to at least give you some overall picture of your question.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now the second part, yes, with regards to Hansel's win, yes, I can remember from 84, 85, probably I was at the age of 8, yes, and I see this gentleman, Mr. Alemao, in politics from 84, 85, and he has been the ex-chief minister for a short span of time. He is in politics for so long, and the sad thing is we still don't have a health center in Benaulim. When I say a health center, is a primary health center. We don't have it in the Benaulim village. So a person who is in politics, who has been an MLA for at least 3 or 4 terms in that constituency, we don't have a health center. Basic requirement for the village of Benaulim. So, and this kind of person has been brought to power now and then again by those people. And I do feel that this elections for the ZP was an indication, because of the COVID, because of the Bij Andolan that has happened. People have realized that with COVID, what is paramount is health. And you might have whatever your earnings with you, back of you in your banks. It's not going to help you if you do not reach to the hospital at the nearest place where you can get medical support in case if you have a medical emergency. And people have realized this, and I hope the people of Goa will realize this, since Benaulim has realized this, because if you do not have proper infrastructure in place in every village, for every election booth, if you do not have like a Mohalla clinic, it's not going to help you medically, because once you're ill, you're ill. It does not really matter. You might have a luxurious vehicle to take you to the hospital, but on the way to the hospital, nobody can protect you, because the services are so bad, and there is nothing that is happening. So saying that, yes, it is an indication. It is an indication that people are not happy, and people have shown their resentment, and people want to see, although the ZP does not have great powers, what a ZP could do to push the government, as well as to exchange ideas with the government and bring in new thought processes by enlightening the government by being a ZP, which is very important. Otherwise, previously, before the Aam Aadmi Party came for elections in Goa, you could say that ZP was like, no one even knew what is a ZP election. It just happened. The candidate used to roam alone. I could remember candidates roaming just alone, singly to every house to do the campaign. But from the time when the Aam Aadmi Party has entered politics, the entire political scenario, the entire the educating the people about politics has changed. People have been forced to talk about politics. People have been forced to understand politics, and because politics is what governs your daily livelihood, people have been forced to talk about politics, and there are volunteers who are coming on the ground who are telling the people, this is what is happening. You need to make a change. So I think it is all about Aam Aadmi Party coming into politics, and even a small election like ZP, which used to not have so much of fame. All the political parties today are worried because of the awareness that the Aam Aadmi Party is creating for each and every election, for each and every post, and that means empowerment to the people. When you educate the people about what your ZP can do, what your MLA can do, what is the MLA salaries, what is the ZP salaries, what he can do, how much funds he is getting, how much he is utilizing. When you're educating the people can ask you questions. So before this, it was never happening. Nobody was educating the people, so people used to never ask any questions. So the Aam Aadmi Party is educating the people, and the more you educate the people, even the less educated people now know that the cost of living can be brought down by good governance. The cost of living can be brought down by reducing your electricity bills. And if your electricity bills have to be reduced, you need to have a good government in place. And to have a good government in place, you need to build it up from the grassroots level. And to build it up from the grassroots level, you need to vote for people who desire to make this change happen. And the Aam Aadmi Party is the first stepping stone, I think, to make this change happen. And I think Hensel's results have shown that, yes, the people of Benaulim need a change.
Next, so during the campaign, did you get a sense that this Hensel is going to has a good shot of winning? Was it palpable mood on the ground, or was it a little bit of surprise in the end?
No, we did work very hard on the ground. We did a lot of campaigning, a lot of awareness. A lot of people have been joining from August till November. You could see a lot of people have specially joined in this Benaulim constituency. The only worry was the poor turnout of the voters. It was only 41.65 turnout of voters in the constituency. So the worry was those voters turnout, because a lot of Aam Aadmi Party volunteers could not come out to vote, because a lot of them have been senior citizens, and because of this pandemic, their children and all. I mean, overall, a lot of senior citizens have not voted this time. So the worry was definitely there. Youth have come out this time. Youth have voted for the Aam Aadmi Party across Goa. You could say across Goa, wherever we have candidates, we had at least crossing 1,000 votes. So it is a good start. It is a good start. The symbol has been, recognized well with this victory. And yes, I think this Benaulim start will only show that what can be done and what can be achieved in the next 1 year.
Good evening, Captain Venzi. This is Sebastian calling from the US.
Good evening, Mr. Sebastian.
So my question is, Benaulim. I know that in the last assembly elections, AAP was the number 2, right, in Benaulim. And I believe
Yes,
that,
that's correct. Yes.
I think we are stronger in South Goa than North Goa. So, and then you talked a lot about, you know, limitations in terms of volunteers. And so, how do you see going forward? You know, we don't seem to have much hold on North Goa. How do you see, I mean, what's the way forward? Because money is definitely an issue. What do you think? I mean, we need to create a buzz. It's going to be challenging. We don't have much, but we do have at least 2 years to prepare. How do you think we should put our, you know, prioritize? Should we concentrate on certain areas where we did well last time? Or you think we should spread ourselves throughout so that people think of us as a credible government forming party? How do you think? How do you look at it?
Where North is concerned, surprisingly, if you see now, with the vote share that we've got quite a decent vote share. If I could take you the example of Saligaon, it has been quite a nice vote share. We have even got couple of booths lead in that area. When we never used to have great presence in those areas, and the result of these North Goa presence now increasing is because of the Wij Andolan movement. We could reach to at least 10 meetings, if I'm right. 10 meetings have been done in a period of 4 days or 5 days, and people were made aware that electricity bills can be reduced, especially in areas like Walpur, Satari. Those areas, people really don't have even a continuous electric supply, and it's so very bad that side. So people have realized and people have voted this time, and we do believe that this Wij Andolan and more buzz campaigns and more campaigns making people realize that their cost of living can be reduced, and it has been reduced to their fellow Indians across up in the north in Delhi. People are having a better cost of living. They are not spending on their education. They are not spending on their medicals. They are not spending on their bijli. They are not spending on their water. So if this cost comes down straight away, a good 10,000 rupees or 15,000 rupees you could save a month. And if you want to do that, then the only solution is to bring in the Aam Aadmi Party. So this has to be put in. The confidence of people has to be built up, because important is educating them and showing them and making them believe that what is being shown is a reality. With so much of social media awareness, there is also a lot of fake awareness that is going on. So comparing that fake awareness and the reality of what is happening in Delhi has to be transformed to the people at the grassroots levels. And for that, we need a lot of more volunteers, as I said, which we have been working, and the North base has been growing with the leadership of Rahul coming in as the interim convener. We could have a lot of new volunteers joining, a lot of new volunteers coming from the Mapsa segment, coming from Porvorim, coming from Panjim, and that has actually added a boost. So I think we should give it a chance to see how it goes with the municipality elections, since the municipality elections is coming in February, and we will gradually look at a change, because with these ZP polls, we have doubled our vote share. So our vote share has already crossed the double mark. Although the figures of voting, the turnout was less, but if you see our vote share, it has doubled. So I think the North is going to grow, and once the North understands, the South is already ready for the Aam Aadmi Party. It's just that we have to reach to each and every individual and to make them realize. But the South has accepted. With Benaulin coming in, we can say that the South has accepted the people. The people have accepted the party, and it's now how we prepare the North. And the preparation has started. The Wij Andolan has started. We are going to continue with the Wij Andolan after completion of this Christmas and New Year break, probably after the 10th of Jan or so. and we take it from there how it goes.
I mean, in
One
addition,
related question. Sorry,
yes, please, please,
continue.
Sudarshan. Yeah,
So,
please.
I mean, I think it's a great opportunity, considering that the whole of Congress basically just merged into the BJP. So, and Congress it was the second largest party last time around. So, what is the chance of what do you think should be a messaging to take in Congress voters who basically who are disillusioned? They would have given their vote to Congress, but it eventually went to BJP. What should be a strategy? Do we have a plan? Do we want to reach out specifically to Congress voters? Is that some way to proceed? Because if we can get all the Congress voters, I think we will get to the next government, right? So, is there something that is separating Congress voters and AAP voters? You think they're transferable? What do you think? Thank you.
I would say the message has to be first clear to all the BJP voters. It is the BJP voters who have to come out of the mindset that we are voting for the BJP for so many years and we will keep voting. That voter segment mindset, I think, has to change, and we are going to strongly work on that mindset, because the cost of living is the same for everyone. Whether you are a Congress voter, you are a AAP voter, or a BJP voter, your salary has not increased. If you are a BJP voter and working for the government, and you are a Congress voter working for the government, you are not receiving salaries on time. So your cost of living and whoever is voting for the BJP, the cost of living is the same. Your electricity bills are no different. Your medical facilities are no different. In this COVID, everybody has died. Everybody has suffered. Whoever it is, whoever party you belong to. So the message has to be conveyed to all the party voters. Yes, the Congress is definitely no longer existing after these elections of the ZP, because if you see, they've almost out. They've just got 2 or 3 seats, and the other seats, they are in the third position. In most of the places, they are also in the third position. That means the Aam Aadmi Party has got 1 winning seat. But if you compare between the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party, we have almost crossed 4 or 5 constituencies or Zilla constituencies where we are in the second position. So which means, we are the only opposition today. There is no Congress existing, and people have to understand this. These statistics will be put out to the people to make them realize, to make the Congress voters realize. But more than the Congress voters, my personal opinion and also the party believes that we need to bring all the BJP voters and make them understand that their cost of living has not reduced. Even if you bring in any number of schemes, whatever schemes you bring in, those schemes are for all, and those schemes finally they don't get delivered, correctly and promptly. So cost of living is the same. If the onion goes up, the onion is going up for everyone. If the gas cylinder is gone up, it goes up for everyone. There is no subsidized gas for BJP voters. So the BJP voters have to understand, and I think the victory is going to be a mix of both the vote segments coming this side, not only the Congress.
Yeah. The key difference is that BJP voters are often communally minded, and they're like this Hindu supremacy kind of minded people as well sometimes. And the Congress voters tend to be more secular, less religion minded, so they may think of shifting easier. But there are also other parties like Goa Forward Party and Maharashtravadi Gomantak Party. How do we ensure that the anti-BJP and anti-Congress vote do not go there instead?
See, what the Congress has done, the same things those other parties have also done. The Goa Forward Party and the MGP has also done the similar things what the Congress has done. The Congress has jumped to the BJP. These other 2 parties have also aligned with the BJP. So the message is the same. So they are all basically parties that are all aligned, and they are part of the NDA. So people who understand what Congress has done have also understood what these other 2 parties have done. So the
Yeah.
trust factor of these two parties and the probability of trusting them in the future, the probability factor is very, 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 very low. So people need to understand, and educating people is the key. So
Yeah.
educating them and they getting educated about what is being told to them. The results of Benaulim has shown. So with this message, I think we are hoping and that the people should realize it's not difficult. Nobody is going to run after you. You know, if you want a better cost of living, a better life to live, and especially in this pandemic, there is loss of jobs, there is salary cuts all over Goa, and the next year is also going to be in the same situation. You know, so and that's the thing. How and to add on, Goa is in depth. You know, I don't know the exact figure, but we are in a big debt. So with this debt, I think the focus has to be, people have to understand that their cost of living is priority. You know, you have to able to manage and survive with whatever you're going to get. And if you have to survive and have a good living, if the cost can be brought down, then there's nothing like it.
Correct. Yeah. Do we have any other questions?
Hi, this is Manish. I have a question.
Yes,
So
Manish, go ahead.
in this Jila Panchayat, I think 7 independent candidates won. So you have to see, like, are these guys like earlier in some other party, and then they fought individually? What happened? Like, why were they good guys? And if they were good guys, why we didn't had them on our side in Aam Aadmi Party?
See, there were independents that whom we had also supported. We had supported Cecile Rodriguez in the north, Talegaon. So we had also supported a candidate in Davolian. So we had supported a few, I think 3 candidates who were independent. The other candidates, not that they were not good or less good or better, but most of the candidates are backed by either the Congress MLA or the present government MLA, and they have been kept as independent. You know, so that is always what is there with all these 10 MLAs or 12 MLAs that went into the BJP. They all have kept their own people, you know, as independents, because now they also are not sure what's going to happen, whether they stand a chance back again, or how will the people react. And most of the places they have lost. You know, those candidates have lost. The few candidates who have won the independent are definitely, yes, they are either somebody's men, and I don't see anyone who is not supported by any of the parties. You know.
So the 3 independent candidates who won were supported by Aam Aadmi Party.
No, the 3 that we supported, none of them won. But Cecile gave a very good tough fight up there in Talegaon. She got around 3,000 plus votes. She lost, but yes, that was you know, somewhere that generally elections in the past used to happen by manipulating, you know, or doing some kind of a negotiations and understanding that the opposite party is not going to win anyway. Just put up a candidate, you know, and it used to be one-sided. But this time with Cecile being there, it was not a one-sided. It was a very tough fight election. People voted for a change, but yes, 3,000 was not enough. But I think that is a stepping stone, and people at least know now that they can press another button then besides the Congress and the BJP.
Okay. Thanks.
Any chance we can get these 3 independent candidates whom we backed to actually join our party?
Yes, definitely yes. I think all 3 of them would be willing to join, and definitely yes, in the near future we would like to see them with the party. In fact, Cecil is with the party for a very long. It's just that because of the local sentiment, it was decided that she would contest independent and gain the support just to have a winnability chance over there. But the rest two, yes, one is already on the verge of joining. The other one, we need to fine tune a few things and bring him on board.
Right. Do we have some more questions?
Yeah.
Captain Venzi, so what do we need to look forward for the? I know it's municipality is a very different kettle of fish. Where do you think our chances are, and how do we react? How things are? Do you think we have any chance?
Yes, with the Benalim win, definitely we are all fully boosted up, full of energy to going for the municipality elections. We are having discussions of where to contest and where to focus on. And yes, in probably before Christmas or after the Christmas break, we will declare where all we are going to contest and which municipalities. But yes, definitely we do stand a chance, and more than standing a chance, it is giving people an opportunity for an alternative rather than the BJP and the Congress. So giving them an opportunity is important, and then we leave it to the people, create an awareness. Then yes, we will definitely be there for the municipality elections.
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah. So I don't know if this question has been asked already because I joined a little late. But my question was, what is the state of education and healthcare in Goa, like government education and healthcare in Goa? And are these electoral? I mean, can they be electoral issues, or is that not really important from the perspective of a typical Goan?
Yes, health definitely is a concern for every Goan, because the thing about Goa is being small and being connected. Everybody has multiple mode of transports. Everybody has a two-wheeler in the house. Everybody has a four-wheeler. Majority of the people at least have a two-wheeler. So the mode of transport is very convenient. So that brings a little bit of a mindset change, that you get used to going a 10-kilometer for a doctor, going a 10-kilometer for a health checkup. You get used to it. And so people don't know that, they don't, actually they have not got the opportunity, or they don't have the privilege of the having a clinic just within a radius of a kilometer. So every kilometer there is a clinic. So that opportunity and that privilege is not yet been given to them. So they don't even know how that feels and how important that is. So for everyone, a 10-kilometer ride or a 8-kilometer ride is, that's the minimum deadline to save your life. So that's the speed, how you need to reach at what kind of a situation. So medical, definitely, as I told you, in my constituency, that is the Benalim constituency, the Benalim village, which is the biggest village, itself does not have a health center. And when we have a representative who is in politics and who from 84, 85, and there is no health center. And they have been talking about health center now, and they have been talking about approvals. Approval has come, maybe foundation stone is going to get laid off, and for the 2022 elections, he could maybe say that, I've laid a foundation stone, and if you elect me, I will bring you this health center. But it's not about electing you again in 2022. It's about what have you done. You've been in politics in the same constituency for the last 30-35 years. And you still don't have a proper foundation stone laid down. What are you going to do? And when it comes to education, yes, education is quite good compared to the other states of India. But comparatively to Delhi model of education, yes, we are lacking behind. Villages, are moving towards the cities. When I say that, it's not required. If every village has a school, it's a government school, it's a church school run by the church. So children from the villages, parents are migrating towards the city in order to give them better education in the private segments. So this is happening because the level of education is not the same. But saying that, the village school level of education is much better compared to the other states. If you go to the UP, if you go to places like these places, they are much far beyond what we have. We do have a proper education system, but yes, comparatively to Delhi model, yes, if we have something like Delhi, then there is nothing like it, because then people from villages don't need to go to the city. Villages will be self-sustainable, compared to the education, health. So people don't need to go there. People don't need to clutter the cities. Now the cities are getting cluttered because the facilities in the villages are not being there. There is still no, in my village, there is a health center. I come from a village called Carmona, and I got a health center just opposite my house. But there is no doctor available 24 hours. We need to rush to a doctor to the neighboring village, which is another 5-6 kilometers for a 24-hour doctor availability. So we are in 2020 and these kind of things. So the thing is, we are used to, in an emergency, I know I need to reach in 20 minutes to a doctor. So people are used to this. So people have to be given better facilities. Where health is concerned, yes, education can be improvised where Goa is concerned.
Correct. I have one more related question, which you also spoke about just now while answering this. Are there any plans that Aap Goa has in terms of improving public transport within Goa, or do we think that it is kind of, as much as is necessary, it's there? I mean, what is our perspective on that?
Aap Goa definitely will improvise the transport connectivity, because as you see how they have done in Delhi, the transportation is almost free for the women. The network of the transport, if I understand correct, it is like a one-card system. You can hop in the train, you can go in a bus. So this can be done in Goa. It's not difficult. And Goa is very small. We time and time again try to tell the people during our meetings, we've got say 15 to 16 lakhs voters, and you can see the total population could be around 18 or 19 lakhs of people. That's it, and that's all about Goa. And it's so rich with so much of resources that you can create a model out of Goa. Goa could be a model for the whole of India, because there is a revenue, the people are less in numbers. You could go and get things organized for each and every family and understand what is happening with their medical issues, what is happening with their transport issues, what is happening. You can literally do that, because 15, 17, 18 lakh people is nothing comparatively to Delhi. We have crores of people down there. So the transport network is much, much smaller. The geographical area of the transport is much smaller. So it's all about organizing, re-strategizing, and not going one step behind. It's about going 10 steps ahead. Because when you're strategizing something, you don't bring in new vehicles. That is what the network is very, very small. So public transport system can be beautifully reorganized, keeping into mind a 10 years plan from today. So we don't go back to diesel vehicles, we don't go back to petrol vehicles. We go back to different kind of other energy resources. So electric cars, solar buses. So this is what I think should be the future of Goa's development.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I have a suggestion related to that. In Delhi, they are putting the solar panels on government colleges, government school, and they're planning to produce good amount of solar energy. Yeah, I mean, I think you should look into that because with Goa, as you said, the population is pretty less, and so I think educate the entire Goa can be. This could be one poll promise that we can make Goa clean state, a clean energy state. You can have solar panels because also the roof in Goa is, I think, like a hut type, right? It's not, you cannot, it's a hut type. So you, on the rooftop, each rooftop, you can put those solar panels and Goa schools and colleges. And then,
Yes, definitely.
yeah.
Yes, what I meant to say is, yes, definitely, this is what we could really do in Goa also. It's definitely what we could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we wanted to ask you, how do we get involved now? I mean, are you guys organized in some WhatsApp groups, or how do NRI volunteers contribute to the Goa campaign? I mean, we have a lot of skills with us with social media, graphic design, and we have all been involved with many kinds of in-ground campaigning as well. So, I mean, how do we get started?
Okay. Just to share with you what we started in Benaulim constituency in the last 4 months was a replica of the similar to like the Aam Aadmi Mohalla Clinic. What we did is the Aam Aadmi Party medical equipment facilitating unit, and we have started these units with the women's wing. So what we do is we organize a women's wing for a particular village, and we get medical equipment support, second hand or new, from people. And like presently we've got each unit will have 2 hospital beds, 2 crutches, 2 wheelchairs, various kind of medical equipment. And that village, the women would join, who would like to join the Aam Aadmi Party, and these units will be handled by these set of women. And anybody in the village need a medical equipment, a wheelchair, for example, he passes on the message, or the message is known because people are from the same village. They put it on the WhatsApp group, and we activate our volunteers to go and deliver the wheelchair within 24 hours to the needy person. They can use the wheelchair or the medical equipment till the time they recover, say 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and then they give it back to the unit. So the idea is to use medical equipment that people don't have to buy. So this is one model what we have started. We have managed to get this organized in 4 villages of Benaulim constituency. So we are trying to push this ahead in the other 3 villages. And after these 3 villages of Benaulim constituency, we would like to try with the rest of the constituencies. So this is one thing what is there in the pipeline which has started. Now, where your support is required, definitely we have the municipality elections coming. So there is all sort of support required. When it is IT support, yes, managing their social media is required for all the candidates, whomever we are going to put across. So if one person can handle 2 candidates, 3 candidates, 4 candidates, so X number of candidates divided by X number of volunteers, the social media will be required. Then for any other things, like for example, creating Facebook profiles, their pages, to take care of the entire social media campaign, and then guide them in what they have to say, probably what they have to write, because most of the candidates may not be social media literate. They may not have a Twitter account. They may not have a Instagram. So educating them in the short span of time may be difficult. So might well somebody could open up a Twitter handle for them and operate that for them for the election campaign. So this is the social media side of it. Besides that, yes, if some logistic support services can be provided, if you all have any family members beside, or you all have any friends who could be part of the ground campaign to do door-to-door during the municipality election. Soon after the new year is over, I think we will start doing door-to-door. So any support, if you all have common friends to come to help, you could connect them to us. Besides that, yes, always there is a need for opening up offices. Now since Banaulin is opened up, we are looking for opening up a Banaulin office. We are looking for opening up a Margao, South Goa office. So there is always a requirement for a contribution to open up these offices, to get things organized. Small things could be second-hand computers, second-hand printers, items required to be used. So there is a lot of way how everyone could support. So we could start off with a group or something, specifically for Goa municipality. People who would like to contribute in a way, they could specifically show interest and mention what are their skills and how they could contribute, and then they could be allotted in that particular segment. But since municipality is coming around the third week of Feb, we've got say 2 months in hand, and that could be a trial round of gearing up the team, and that same team could then assist for the 2022 also.
Exactly. That's great. Yeah. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah. Hi, Captain Venzi. This is ARP volunteer Sachin from Oslo, Norway. I wanted to ask one question related. Yeah, hi. Wanted to ask one question related to alternative economic model for Goa. I'm not sure. I just have been to Goa twice, that for the tourism purpose, and I have very limited understanding about the society and the economy and other stuff. But my understanding is that the major part of economy is primarily on tourism industry. So what about having alternative economic model, like suggesting an alternative economic model? I heard that people are struggling in the area of science and technology and innovation, like tech startups, which people have tried to set up in that region. They were not very much successful. And when I explored what are the reasons behind that, there are some articles suggesting that there is a brain drain, because those who are having that mindset of innovation and science and technology, they are not fit for that region, so they migrate from there, because primarily society wanted to rely more upon a tourism industry. So that is one reason. So I just wanted to know your thought around this. Is it a silly question I'm asking, or I just wanted to know your thought?
No. Very, very valuable question, and we should be having multiple sources of alternate economical models, because tourism model, especially with this COVID, and probably even in the near future, we could have a lot of things could come up which could affect tourism very badly.
Correct.
And one of the thing always stays in my mind is, since Goa is a coastal belt, we have the sea on the entire coast on the west side, and we've got rivers. We've got rivers on the east side. So the water rising up and coming and flushing, that probability is always there. And
Yes.
if those things kind of happen, that is also going to hamper the tourism, and we are definitely, as Goa is concerned, we are not prepared for such kind of an emergency. Nobody has even thought about what to do in an emergency. If the water rises up, if there is a tsunami, how do people get evacuated? How do people save their lives? How is the economy going to be revived in case of this kind of a situation and destruction happens with the seawater? So nobody has thought. So that is a very high factor which is always there in my personal mind. Me coming from the shipping industry, which is so very organized for emergencies. We complete our whole tenure out at sea, being trained to fight fires, being trained to abandon the ship in case if a ship has to sink, but never, and we are always, we would say, we are always lucky to never have an emergency till you retire, but we are always trained for an emergency. But yes, Goa that's not happening. Neither we see that any of the present political setups are having that mindset of making people aware how to save their lives. So with this tourism having the highest probability of getting affected at any point of time, I think the immediate alternative what is available to Goans, and we are happy that we have a lot of land which is cultivable land. Farming is the immediate, I think, alternate source of economy that we could look into. Plus, there could be other so many things, because now when we are talking about coal coming in order to reduce coal, so we have to reduce energy consumption. In order to reduce energy consumption, we have to educate the people to reduce their electricity consumption in each house. And as well as if we can look for a renewable source of energy, alternative source of energy. So maybe solar panels in each house, taking care of their own house, and the remaining going to the grid, and that could reduce the consumption of coal, and that could reduce the consumption of energy what Goa requires. So that the so what I could say is, if we could think of each constituency being sustainable by themselves, because Goa is very rich. All the 40 constituencies have got agricultural land. All the constituencies have got river. I mean, most of them have got rivers. Most of them have got sea. So fishing activity can be taken up as one alternative model. Farming can be taken up. In farming itself, there is so many segments, and the land is so rich that you can cultivate it round the year. So either you grow paddy, that is rice, and then you grow vegetables, you grow beans, you grow so many kind of things. Then your horticulture, the floriculture, the flowers, that could be a segment where. So the market is there. We need more entrepreneurs. Goa do not have entrepreneurs of their own, because as you see, traditionally Goa has been a tourism-based state. So most of the entrepreneurs are into tourism activities. We have grown up looking at restaurants, pubs or street food. So we have grown up into this lodging, having small hotels. So more of the people have invested their time and money in tourism. So now their children who are coming up are the new entrepreneurs, which we need to develop them to be entrepreneurs. And for that, the education system plays a vital role. When a child is in the 7th, 8th, 9th standard, that is the time where you have to introduce to him various ways that is there for sustaining yourself. So I think only when these education models are changed, then only we will have entrepreneurs coming up in the next 10 years. We cannot just have entrepreneurs this year and next year, because we haven't groomed the kids at the young age. So alternative source of immediate what comes to mind is farming, because the land is there, and I have seen a lot of our seafarers also are engaging themselves. NRIs who have come from abroad, from various other countries, and who have lost their jobs. I've seen them taking fishing activities or taking farming activities, but they have been doing it in the traditional ways, the traditional methods of fishing, the traditional methods. So the traditional methods of fishing or farming have to be done with a little bit of technology enhancement, a little bit of technology introduced in that, so that the manpower is less, and then it is result oriented, where no huge investments, but there is support of investments from banking segments and all, and people are motivated to look into this, and the government is the key. The government has to mandatory, I would say, the government has to mandatory take interest in cultivating fields. I would put it that way. So it should be like a mandate that no field will be left barren in any particular panchayat area, and it should be from the government. The panchayat will be given the responsibility, or should be given the responsibility, that no field is left barren. If anybody is not growing their field, the government will grow, do some kind of a agreement with the owner of the field and cultivate that field. Do some revenue sharing model. So I think if the government comes up with this zero land without cultivation, so that means all the land which is there has to be cultivated. I think this is going to change the entire economic revenue model and could be an alternative model besides tourism.
So how about pitching in this idea in upcoming assembly election, which is almost 14-15 months away from now? Like suggesting some alternative, like an idea of developing alternative economic model for Goa in case of crisis, and developing this entrepreneurship right from the school education, like connecting it through Delhi school model where entrepreneurship is also introduced. So just connecting all these dots and pitching in a new idea so that at least go and see alternative approach in one particular political party compared to others.
Yes, definitely. We would be more than happy, and I would personally also take interest if someone is ready to help, because what I've seen, there are a lot of ideas of getting things and putting it across to the electorate. But the only thing is the mode of communicating. When I say the mode of communicating is a larger segment of the voter is not so well educated. So how do you communicate with them? Do you communicate them with picture modules? Because verbally it's not helping. So we have to find what is a convincing mode, whether a picture is a convincing mode, whether a module is a convincing mode, or that convincing mode will change in various constituencies. So understanding how you are going to convince the voter, that is the key of reaching out to them and convincing them that this can be done and you can do it through this channel.
Yes, correct. I agree. So those like you who are at ground and who understand the ground realities, maybe you can utilize some of us and we can make a communication plan and how best it can be communicated and can be framed. I'm open whenever you need any help. You can always reach to Aapka Radio, and many of us can volunteer for such
Exactly.
activities.
I mean, like many of us are available for a vast range of tasks over here, be it communication, graphics, social media strategy, and a lot of other things. So please make use of us, Venzi, whenever possible. Yeah. On a related note, I had one last question. We see many blocks of professionals and workers in Goa. We have the seafarer block. We have many fishermen. We have cashew farmers and supari farmers and hotel owners. Or these from various blocks. Is there a kind of a union between these different working groups to represent their interests better with the big companies or with the government?
Having a union will represent them better, or having a sort of a model to connect the farmer or the entrepreneur to the market, open market. We have to see how it works, because maybe union is not the right word probably, but something like a union, but we need to name it something else. So it is like a platform where you sell your products, easily available platform where the buyer and the seller are connected directly without any middleman. So what happens in that is the seller benefits the maximum and the buyer also benefits, and the same way, the buyer should be the end user probably if possible. If not possible, seller and buyer without any middleman. So some kind of a platform. Like for example, in our neighboring village, today is a Sunday. So what is happening for the last couple of Sundays is they opened up a Mercado. So Mercado on a church ground where they Yes, where they encouraged all the locals to come and put up a stall of whatever they want, homemade
Mhm.
goods, crafts,
Mhm.
homemade items, food items,
Yeah.
some clothes, somebody is preparing some Christmas decorations. So it is like a open market sort of, where you portray your skills and the villagers come and they buy from you, and they teach you. This also educates and motivates the seller how to promote your products. Maybe you can make a small business card. You just print out on a colored paper, give your
Yeah.
phone number across, circle it on WhatsApp. The
Yeah.
orders will come to you. So I think this kind of a platform could really help, especially where farming products are concerned, homemade products are concerned. There is a lot of people who would want to, export food items, grown food products, across. So they don't know how to do it, how to maybe pack a small pallet of 100 kg of various items, get it custom cleared, get it FSSAI approved, send it across, do the custom clearance elsewhere in the United States, clear then somebody tells it over there.
Right.
So these kind of things will definitely help, and there should be one point of window. Okay, this is a team, this is a setup. You knock this door. Okay, we're going to do everything for you. Yes, we're going to make a profit out of this, and the end client also makes a profit out of this.
Hmm. Right.
But this is, I think, we could probably work on if there is expertise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we took a lot of your time, and today the conversation exceeded much longer than the anticipated time. Do we have some more questions?
Just want to reiterate that
Yes. Yes, Sebastian.
we are ready to support you, Captain Venzi, whatever way possible, immediately for your municipal elections, including financially. So I
Yes.
think we can organize in a way where we can help you directly. Thank you.
Yes. Please, Captain Venzi, open a communication channel where NRI volunteers can connect directly and help in fundraising, help with our expertise and our time, however possible. So yeah, we are awaiting for your call. Yeah, just one other thing that India so far does not have this system called as green politics yet. We don't have a green party yet. In European countries, even in Portugal, we have a green political party that mainly works on environmental manifestos. Could AAP Goa become India's first green political party? Because we have a lot of environmental issues which are being pushed by AAP.
Yes, in order to be a green political party, I would say being a party and getting elected are two different things. Forming a green political party, yes, you could always promote yourself, get your things organized to promote yourself as a green political party. But would you get elected by being a green political party? For that, you need to educate the voters. Why is it required to have a green political party? So the forming a party, it can happen within a period of a year. You have like-minded people. You promote it, you form it, you put down the rules, you put down the parameters, and it's done. So it's open. But will you get elected? That's a big question mark. So right now, I think Goa may not be ready for accepting a green political party. But yes, the idea of promoting what is the meaning of a green political party and educating the voters is, I think, the key, and then we could achieve it in 2027. And I would be very confident if we start the concept of green political party and start educating the youth who are going to start voting for the 2027 elections. By that time, yes, and part of this green political party would also to be strongly trying to oppose and hold on to any projects that would disrupt the environment, and from there the entire campaign for 2027 could take off, and we could remold Goa, and we could project Goa for the next 5 years, and that has to not start. That campaign cannot start 1 year before 2027. That campaign has to start 5 years before 2027.
Exactly.
So the preparation starts 5 years, and we have a 5 years plan for educating the people, and then you reach out, with this. kind of a movement. Yeah, I think that's my opinion.
Yeah, that was a very good answer, and it was a really engaging conversation with you. And I'm sorry we have taken a lot of your time, but it was lovely listening to you. So I think we would close the session now. Thank you so much, Captain Wenzi, for joining us.
Thank you everyone. Thank you, Mr. Prashant, for making me a part of this Aapka Radio. Thank you all the volunteers out there. Let us all stay united. Let us make the change that we all desire. Let us keep promoting what we want to have. And I think that is going to be the key to success. Let Goa be the next Delhi model, and let us able to replicate in 2022. We need all your support. We need all your love. We need all your blessings. Thank you everyone, and hope to see you all again.